I'm live. Hello. Hi, Substack. Okay, first of all, I'm Jillian Walker, and I'm celebrating my first Substack Live. Um, I have been on this platform for about 6 months. I joined on Juneteenth, or launched rather on Juneteenth. And for some reason, my notifications are not silencing, but I'm going to keep talking. And I've been spending time, kind of playing around here and also being off of here and still finding my way around. But it's really nice to be in this space. And I wanted to do a live because I am a performer. It is one of the things that I do. One of the ways also that I understand my writing is through sharing the words out of my mouth in front of other humans, with other humans. And I wanted to explore doing that here in this community, in this space. Community, is it a community? I can't say it's a community yet, um, but I am getting to know and interested in the possibility that it could be. So we'll see. I am calling this live an alchemy of words. And these words are particularly around the subject of healing from self-negation. And yeah, I'm going to read some of my piece that I published here on Substack last week or the week before. It's called Composition One, and it is, I thought I was moving into this house to heal people, and I was, is the full name of that piece. And I'm going to read a little bit from that and also weave some other words that I've been moving with on the subject of healing from self-negation. So that piece in its entirety is a lot of an exploration of that, of these ideas of what does it look like to really come back to the self. Obviously, in this case, me, myself. What words? How are they all moving? How is it all fitting together? And what is it composing? What am I composed of? These are the larger questions of the Substack, which is called Composed. So once again, I am Jillian Walker. I don't know how people come across these. I'm guessing that Substack posts this in my notes and then people find their way. I don't know how this works. But I'm just going to start reading. And as I weave in some of these other words, or all of the words rather, I just invite you to listen and tune into whether or not what I'm reading, which is about myself, prompts something in you about yourself, in ways that you resonate or don't resonate with. The alchemy of words that are being read also tells you something about your self-definition, about where you are in your journey of self-defining, or even perhaps the opposite thing of um, dissolving some of those aspects of self, not so much defining, but dissolving. And actually, as I'm getting into reading, something that I want to say, a sort of collective observation that I've noticed is, or that I feel very strongly and sense very strongly within myself right now, is that some of us are in this turn of the cosmic wheel to learn the cost of self-negation and what it means to then correct that or to come back home to the self, to understand the self as a defined aspect of the collective. And some of us are here on the cosmic wheel in this turn or at this moment in this time to learn the opposite, that the self is always part of the collective. And some of us don't know that as much. You know, we're much more comfortable in our self-definition, and we're very clear about who we are, what that means, um, what we prefer, what we don't, all of those kinds of things. And both are a part of soul assignment. Both are a part of the collective evolution. And something, so for me, I'm much more on the side of learning to define myself, learning what self negation has cost me up until this point in my journey. I am somebody who very easily bleeds and blends with the collective. I am very much a water person. I walk with water spirits, all of that. And also, because of definitions of myself that were projected onto me and things that I internalized within the sort of core of my ego in many ways, that I got attached to, also really melted me away in many ways. And so for me, the process right now is coming into a self definition, and that is a part of the healing. But both are a part of the healing. Both ends of, actually, I won't even say of a spectrum, but more of the wheel, of the turn. And we just turn around and around and around. Okay. So now that I've said that little intro, I'm going to read a little bit from composition one, and then I will start to alchemize and weave us into a meditation invitation, very brief. And as I said, I invite you to listen and feel for yourself what might be here for you, what medicine may be here to prompt within you, what you may need to know, feel, um, have response to, an impulse around as I'm speaking. My, yes, my, me, oh, my, I. I am doing my best to speak for myself these days, to speak from here. I still have far to go, but I'm going to keep trying because I've learned so much about the healing in that for me. I've really learned how sophisticated my levels of disassociation are, and I don't want to disassociate anymore. As a collective oriented person, an oldest child, a Black post Jim Crow daughter, a millennial parented by boomers, a teacher, a facilitator, an artist, an oracle, a healer, a priestess, a Libra sun, Pisces rising, a woman who wanted to get free from colonial paradigms of individualism, a pan Africanist-ish person. I could go on. I've confused identities with soul signatures, or with definitions I thought were mine. And that may be because I didn't know any better. Sometimes I didn't. But more deeply, I feel now that my body is back to housing itself and the dream is the house. I feel that I, the actual I, left so long ago to teach me how to come back. And here's our meditation. I. I exist in part to know that it isn't love if I'm not there. I'll say that again. I. I exist in part to know that it isn't love if I'm not there. So, something that I was reflecting on right before coming on this evening is the sentence, I've confused identities with soul signatures, or the phrase, I've confused identities with soul signatures. And yeah, I'm going to make another observation collectively, what I see um, from so many of us. And I think that the internet has a lot to do with it. It's not only the internet, but the internet definitely has shaped this. The ways in which our soul signatures and our identities can get confused, or we start to feel as if we must somehow fit all of our soul into the words that we say that we are online or to each other at a holiday party, let's say, since we're in that season. And the I of self is truly, something that goes beyond, around, behind, underneath, above these other names and codes. And names and codes can also be extremely helpful and extremely important. The right words unlocking aspects of our soul. So it's not that one is bad and one is good, or one is useful and the other isn't. It's more about finding and continuing in our co creation with life to see where, if at all, we feel confusion between our identities and our soul signatures. And if so, why? And really going into that, whether it's through our writing or, through our ritual work, or whatever practices you engage in that really help you um, feel your way through something, or the ways in which you have a creative process just with yourself. And so it's not necessarily right about choosing or refusing to identify the self. um, it could be, um, but it doesn't need to be. And it also doesn't need to be that we um, try to fit everything that we think that, or everything that our soul is telling us that we are, that we feel that we are in our soul, into labels and words and names. Some things truly are also nameless. They're felt. They exist in the ether, and the ether is also real. It's also that energetic is real, and also deserves to be honored, by us. And it exists also in that space between our words, between our identities, and sometimes in that on the dash between our identities, or the slash between our identities. So, again, I'm speaking as somebody who is identifies as a multidimensional artist, someone who deals with a lot of different ways of working to sort of bring together different aspects of myself and different aspects of what I observe, what I feel, and what I know. So I just want to encourage those who are listening, watching now, and hello to those of you who are here, to be in that space with yourself of inquiry around um, identities versus soul signatures and what that means to you and what it doesn't mean. So I'm going to say the meditation one more time, and then I'm going to read a little bit more of this transmission around self-negation. So here's our meditation once more, and I just encourage you to breathe and to be with it how you wish. I I exist in part to know that it isn't love if I'm not there. On self-negation. Self-negation can look sneaky, tricky. It can look like losing yourself in community, too. For collective-oriented people, the assignment might be to learn to stand on your own, to not do it together, per se. Ultimately, it is all together. At the root, there is one tree growing, and everything is connected, everyone, and we are separated from the mother out of the womb. We come forward as beings named with a destiny. And no one has the map but the blood of you, the stuff of you, the evolutions and challenges of your own life curriculum. There is a way that avoiding that can be to hide in collective work, to not know the self as a defined self, to slip through life being in communion without being unified in one's own spirit, the inner world of one's own experience. That's me. I'm speaking about myself being unified in my own spirit. And I caused damage because of that. And I'm not saying damage is inherently bad. Damage is. Consequences just are. And they are there. Marks of living. Mm. Becoming an individual can also be a humbling process, a healing process for those of us who have found over and over again the call to go inward and to express only what is there and what is invited from there. The inner world is where we encounter our own threads, the strands, the forms of teacher we need that will repeat and resound until we listen. And the more of us who are sharing this gold of the teacher resounding and repeating, the more of us who do this wealth from the DNA of our knowing, the more the collective becomes itself. Through the individual medicine that has been missing from the archives of our truths, the stories of our sacred schools wrapped tight in our consciousness, waiting. Through the individual medicine, we become. All forms of the mind and the inner world are here to teach us. In communing with them, an alchemy begins. And from that unique place of your world, anything and anyone can be a teacher. Okay. So I'm going to take a breath. And this is my first time live on Substack, so I think there's a chat here. I see. If anyone would like to share anything that they're resonating with or hearing in what has been read, um, happy to receive your words. Um, of course, if you don't have any or you don't want to, that's fine. I just want to invite that. And as that invitation is open, I will just say, in reading this transmission, what was I reading that made me a little teary? There was something in there. Oh, the damage I've caused. um, I was saying I have here um, that not know the self as a defined self, to slip through life being in communion without being unified in one spirit. That I was speaking about me, and that I was speaking about myself being unified in my own spirit, and I caused damage because of that, because I was not unified. That's what it should say. I missed the word not. Speaking about myself not being unified in my own spirit, and I caused damage because of that. Um, yeah, that made me teary because I've been reflecting a lot in this season. I live in the Northern Hemisphere, and it is winter, moving into winter. Actually, is winter now. It'll be midwinter in December. Um, but it's the season of death. It's the season of darkness, and really going within to see, to feel, to know the inner world. And I've been reflecting a lot this season on, uh, first of all, the journey really of not realizing how disunified I was in myself, how much of myself was spread in all of these different places across timelines and across locations in the world, and across ancestors and histories, and places that I had left parts of myself, that some of which I knew, and some of which I didn't. And so I've been reflecting on that, and this now I'm in a place very much of being, uh, of having done so much work to bring myself back together across all these different timelines and places and projections. And with that, the realization of, like, wow, I know that that disunification caused a lot of hurt, not just for me, but for others. And so I've been grieving in this season of death, in this season of grief. I've been grieving that. And as I also say in this transmission, I'm not saying that that damage is inherently bad. Damage just is. Damage is a state. Consequences are. They just are. And so it isn't about, for me, and I'm also saying this for others who might be resonating, it isn't about mm, punishing myself. It's not about regret. It's not, if only I had known, blah, 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 because I didn't know. I didn't know, and we don't know what we don't know. We don't know always, and can't tell how split we are in a particular moment. It's only the next moment that tells us where the split was. um, Yeah, so it's actually very much the grieving process that I'm in is about forgiving myself for being disunified and for the not knowing, forgiving myself. And what that also means, the forgiveness is part of the unifying. Without the forgiveness, there can't be a unification, a bringing together, you know. So I offer that as an iteration on the transmission. And yeah, I see there's people. And Kai, hi. I'm going to read what you said because I have invited people to share reflections if they'd like. So Kai, Malachi says, Takosa Gogo, Takosa Kai. I've cut out a few times, but I wanted to share. The actual me left so long ago to teach me how to come back. Yes. Um, and being here to learn the cost of self-negation, both hit hard with the journey I'm on and the prayers and rituals I've been in. Yeah. Thank you, Kai. Yeah. Um, so in the larger piece, composition one, I'm talking about starting to talk about some of the places uh, that I'm learning to come back, and also, what I've been learning about the cost of self negation. But yeah, thank you, Kai, for sharing, and I'm really glad to know that has been resonating with your journey. And I hope there's some way that it's supporting you to just hear, I'm in it. I'm with you. And also, yeah, in terms of prayers and rituals, I just started uh, a series of ritual days with some medicine um, from South Africa, from a few of my teachers. For those who don't know, I am a practitioner of an ancestral healing tradition called Ubungoma, combined with some other practices from ancestors of different places, but my training centered in that practice. And so when these things come up in me and come up in my writing, I'm also working with indigenous medicine, with traditional medicine, with plant medicine, um, as a way of helping to alchemize, what is coming up in my words and what is coming up in that's reflected to me on the page. And then moving with the words and with ritual. So, okay. I'm glad that it's helpful and supportive for you. The language that it's supportive for you. Um, those are the words, folks, that I had for us today. Um, and I'm excited to explore utilizing this tool of being live with y'all on Substack. And I'm curious and interested to see, what kinds of things you all might want to do in this space. Maybe we could write together. Or, I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to. I'm like, uh-oh, am I overgiving? Let's see. Let me sit with it. um, but if you are having things that you would like to share with me, that you want to say, please definitely feel free to message me or comment, um, either in whatever spot on Substack, and I'll find it eventually if I don't see it right away. Um, yes, so I'd love to hear from you, and I'm very grateful to you all for being with me for this first alchemization. And my prayer is that you were able to receive, something from this time with me and with this subject of self-negation. And again, it is something that is a medicine. And I say that to say that it's not learning the cost of what it is when you negate yourself or when you remove yourself, right? Or when you have disappeared and you're just learning after the fact that you disappeared and trying to figure out where you've gone. Um, all of the journey is a part of our soul's assignment, and a part of um, the support of the turn of the cosmic wheel and the evolution of human consciousness as a whole. So wherever you are in that journey, my prayer is that you feel encouraged, that you feel fed, that you feel whether you're in the underworld or you're somewhere up here or in between. I've just returned really from the underworld. Um, and wherever you are in that journey, I just honor you. I thank you. Um, I thank you and I bow to you and I bow to your spirit and to all of your support, your ancestors, your guides. Um, I bow to all of the aspects of us across timelines that are helping us to come home and to learn what that means. So, with that, I do hope that if you have not yet read Composition 1 in its entirety, that you do so, and please share Composed, my Substack. Please share that. I'm excited to be preparing for the next piece to come out in December and continue to mine, my inner world for words that I hope, offer you some keys for your own journey, um, for your own healing, for your own creative self, for your own essence liberation, for your path in whatever way you meet them at whatever time. Um, yes. So that is what I have this evening. And I'm Jillian Walker, and it's been really lovely to be with you. Oh, and I did not say thank you to the peacock, but I'm very grateful to this medicine. And Dr. White, my doctor's here, which makes me happy. Um, so, yeah, I'm very grateful to the medicine of the peacock, and also just offer you generally a prayer to commune with the medicine of alchemy. And may all poisons that we encounter be transmuted for the good of our souls and for the good of all concerned, all beings. That's it. I have no more words this evening, at least not for y'all. Okay. Mwah. So much love to everybody. And I will keep you posted for the next live and just continue to look out for the next things. Bye. Good night.